Today is February the 4th. How can I follow Jesus? Let's find out together as we study Jesus' early teaching. Today I'd like you to finish up the Sermon on the Mount. Please read Matthew chapters 6 and 7. And read Luke chapter 6, verse 37 to the end of that chapter. In the passage that we're looking at in Matthew, Jesus now shifts slightly. He starts out by saying, watch out, don't do your good deeds publicly to be admired by others, for you lose the reward from your Father in heaven. And then he names 3 specific good deeds that he wants his followers to practice. Those good deeds are, first of all, generosity, but private generosity. Prayer, but private prayer. And fasting, but private fasting. After that, Jesus has 3 do nots that he talks about. 6:19, do not store up treasures here on earth. He continues to talk about that to the very end of that chapter. Chapter 7, verse 1, do not judge others. And then finally, in chapter 7, verse 6, do not waste what's holy on people who are unholy. Now, I'm not sure everything that Jesus is trying to say here. First of all, it does seem pretty obvious that he says, with the possessions that God has given you, be generous with them, give them away. God is allowing you to have those so you can help others. With what you have learned about the law, live by that. But don't judge others. That's not your position. And finally, by the things that you have learned of God, the holy things that he has given you, don't expect the unholy to live by those standards. Now, those 3 things are probably related together, but it is interesting. There were 3 good deeds. There are 3 do nots. And now we see 3 do's, things that we are supposed to do. Chapter 7, verse 7. Keep on asking and you'll receive what you ask for. Keep on seeking and you'll find. Keep on knocking and the door will be open to you. Keep praying. Keep going to God. Keep asking God to help. The next do comes in verse 12. Do to others whatever you'd like them to do to you. That's the essence of all that's taught in the law and the prophets. This is the summary of the law and the prophets, the golden rule. Do to others as you would have them treat you. And then finally in verse 13, enter God's kingdom. Do enter God's kingdom. 3 good deeds, 3 don'ts, 3 do's. And Jesus ends this section by talking about a tree and its fruit. Good trees produce good fruits. And then he finishes by talking about a house built on a good foundation. As Jesus finishes the Sermon on the Mount, he calls what he has said a tree that can produce fruit in the lives of his disciples, and a foundation that they can build their house on. It's interesting that Luke skips over the good deeds, the don'ts, and the do's, but he does talk about the tree. He does talk about the foundation. How do I follow Jesus? Well, Jesus talks about it pretty openly here. Things that he mentions: be generous, pray, fast. He repeats that call to generosity. He says, don't judge others. Don't lay the criteria that God has given you to judge yourself. Don't look at others and judge them by that criteria. Then finally, he says, keep on praying. Treat people the way you want to be treated, and enter into God's kingdom. It's a narrow gate, but it's worthwhile going through. Like, follow, and subscribe on whatever platform you use to listen to this devotional. Email your questions to us at questions@becomehope.com. We'll see you in church on Sunday.